Oh, good morning, everyone. This is a very early morning session, but we are so happy that some of you made our way to this interesting panel, and the panelists, the best in the world. I'm sure we're going to have such a good discussion this morning. Unfortunately, the coffee is a little bit delayed, so you will see a cup of coffee being slipped into this panelist in a few minutes. Yes, my name is Bettina Simonsen. I am from Lifestyle and Design Cluster, and we have a panel this morning where we're going to talk about resale of furniture. And also, I would like to start with introducing this fantastic panel that's here today. And on my left is Preben Meyer, and he is the chairman of JK Office. Welcome.
Thank you.
And the next one is Emma Lynn Road, and you're the co-founder of Keeper Collective. Welcome.
Thank you.
And the next one is Monica Keeney, and you are the country sustainability manager for IKEA. Welcome. And last but not least, it's Mette Rode Sundstrøm, and you are the CEO of Lowage.com.
Yeah.
So with this panel, we have the best to talk about this subject today. And why are we talking about resale furniture? Well, first of all, we are talking about circularity and the need for being more circular in the furniture industry. And one of the very important business models, as we see it, is resale of furniture. One thing is all the furniture and interior we already have produced and which is in the market. There's a big need for keeping them as long as possible in use, to extend the use phase, and that is what we are talking about today. Of course, it's also very important that when we produce new furniture interior, that we produce them with the mindset of keeping them in use as long as possible. But today, the three people here is representing the resale, and of course we have IKEA, who is also reproducing or is producing new products. So it's very interesting to see your different perspective on this. But firstly, I'm going to ask you to present your business model, your business for the audience online and here today. So Preben, please enlighten us on JK Office.
Yes, I'll do so. As you said, I'm the chairman of the JK Office company. That means I'm standing for the CEO of JK, Henrik Sindbæk, who's on vacation. That means I'm not into all details of JK's business, but I'll try anyway. JK Office is an office furniture supplier of new and used furniture. Our sales is more or less an equal mix between new and used or upcycled furniture. Together with the customer, we create the best solution, which could be a mix of these two categories. And that seems to be a very successful strategy because we are growing rapidly. This is really an old company that's reborn, or you could say upcycled, because it got new shareholders. And with the new shareholders, it got a new strategy, and now we got coffee. Most of the new shareholders have a background in IT, and that means that we are creating a new kind of office furniture supplier and a services company heavily founded in IT. One example of that is that all products going through JK will have a digital twin, so we can track any item going through JK. We can track a specific office chair through its whole lifetime. We can register if it goes through us JK Green Hub facilities 1, 2 or 3 times, or going to a different part of the same customer. Also, we are using IT for, together with our partner Reduce, and we can calculate the carbon footprint of a specific product. We can also do this on used products. And we can consolidate this, so we can you can get a picture of your whole office, even including things not supplied by JK. Of course, upcycled product has a very low carbon emission compared to a new product, and this will also be included in the report that the customer gets out of this. We have a Green Hub where products are upcycled, either as nearly new products through careful upcycling, or together with our partner Convert, where we convert old wood furniture to brand new, beautiful desktops you could say, reborn desktops. All this is done by heavy use of advanced IT systems, and that means that we can offer our customer a dynamic service model where all this is intermixed, because in the future, your needs are changing all the time. It's a dynamic situation. It's not like you're buying something, you keep it for many years. You change it all the time. So we support this with services agreements, again, founded in IT. So a lot of IT in any aspect of this reborn company. That's our picture of what we're doing.
Well, and how many years have been operating?
In this new model, about 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, so you have some experience by now.
Yeah, we are moving all the time. We're
Yeah.
launching new IT systems all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Upgrading and
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we'll get back to that. I
Yep.
have a few questions. Emma,
Yes.
you're quite new. You just launched how many days ago?
Yeah, it's been 2 months.
Oh,
soon.
2 months,
yeah,
yes.
1.5. In opposition to JK Office, Keeper Collective is a newly launched resale platform, specifically for design furniture and interior. So we partner up with design brands to help them circulate surplus stock. So that can include used products, could be showpieces from exhibitions, showrooms, can also be used products from take-back programs. So all the products that we sell on keepercollective.com, they have a history in some way. To give you an example, we work with Velas, a Danish furniture company that actually make their furniture on circular principles as well. Sometimes they rent or lend products to events or festivals, and when they do so, we can help them to actually sell those products on to consumers, but also businesses in some cases, to actually let the products fulfill their purpose for a long time. So just recently, last week, we had a big batch of chairs coming from Heartland Festival. And that's only 2 weeks since that festival took place. And those chairs are actually already living a new life and serving a new purpose at different homes and offices across the country. So that's just to provide an example of what you do. At Keeper Collective, we have made it our vision and mission to actually increase the share of circular purchases. That is our main mission. And we do that together with brands. Because even though most people in our region of the world are used to buying pre-loved and used furniture and interior, we also know that the frequency is not that high. We've made some research that shows actually that the average consumer buy around 1.4 used furniture each year. That's only around 10% of all category purchases. Mm-hmm. So we really have some incentive here, and the resale market in our category have some way to go, and that's why we started.
And that's where you can see the potential is there. Exactly. So it's just to grab it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Great, Emma. All of best success. But we get back to you. Monica, you are from a large company that's quite known for cheaper products. You buy them, use them, and throw them out. But IKEA is quite heavy into this circular economy. Please tell us why you're experimenting with resale of furniture. I was really surprised myself when I heard that, but great initiative. Please tell us more about
absolutely. It. So I think most people know of IKEA, so maybe don't have to give a backstory on what the company is, what it's all about, but the vision for IKEA is to create a better everyday life for the many. And so that same vision we kind of apply now to the world we live in, finite resources, changing consumption patterns that we need to kind of take a hold of. So one mission and goal that we have within IKEA is to become a circular business by 2030. Now that is a huge transformation needed to take a fully linear business model at a global scale like ours and make it circular. There is so many more changes needed than can be discussed in one panel, but it's both about the design of the products, and maybe we can get into that a little bit as well, because it's a huge, important portion of the resale market, is to also ensure that products are designed for those purposes in the future. But it's also about how we interact with customers and consumer behavior. And one thing that we really focus on is being for the many, and so making secondhand purchases, making resale, making selling back your items, buying used, making these things commonplace, normalized, just institutionalized in how we shop, how we consume as a society is a big goal of ours. Especially when we look at us here in Denmark, where we know we have this culture of reuse and buying secondhand and flea markets, and how can we tap into that and integrate it into our existing business model. So we have many initiatives going on right now to try to incorporate circularity into how we work, and but a key one, a kind of a cornerstone of it, is our buyback and resell program that we've kind of given a relaunch last year, where we quite simply invite customers to sell their old IKEA products back to us, and we sell them secondhand in our sort of revamped circular area of the store to new customers in new homes. So again, trying to make it's just another normal part of visiting IKEA, is you see secondhand, you buy secondhand, maybe you sell it back yourself. So integrating that circular thinking into the everyday consumer's consumption practices.
And now you have experimenting a little while, and you have certain categories you have allowed take back system. Can you enlighten us a little bit on the result of that so far?
The resale rate. It's quite high. It varies a bit store to store, but we tend to resell, I would say, somewhere around 70% within a very maybe 1 to 2 week period. Anything we can't resell gets, if it can't be resold, it's harvested for spare parts. So we have a huge spare parts library in all of our stores. So legs and arms of chairs or tables or whatever get kind of repurposed, either in our own furniture in the store or going out to customers.
And have you started with some categories of furniture that you say that's easier for you to start to take back?
Yeah, so there's certain things. We started the take-back system or the buyback system with a fairly limited range to make sure that we could do it properly, offer a good customer experience, make sure that these were also products that were desirable for consumers secondhand. We didn't want to come out with everything all at once and then end up with disappointed customers or a disappointing service. So we started with a more limited range, but already after about 5-6 months, we've started to expand it to, for example, now including sofas and upholstered furniture, which we didn't start with, knowing that that's a huge interest. And I mean, sofas are one of the most resold items on the Danish secondhand market.
Yes,
so it's important that we tap into what consumers want and need and make sure that our operations can handle that.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to follow and see how you are expanding the categories and so on. Yes, and last but not least, Mette, you are here, and you have also a long experience in this field with Lauritz.com auction house. Maybe people would say you have the cream of the cream, the high-end products you help circulate around. But just tell us a little bit about Lauritz.com and what kind of. Also, I know you work also in different new areas with this resale.
So my name is Mette Sundstrøm, and I'm the CEO of Lauritz.com, which is the biggest online auction platform in the Nordics. And we have been, we were launched 22 years ago, so we've been in the business for selling reused furniture for many, many years, as have the auction houses worldwide. We sell, of course, furniture. Design classics is our major category. But everything for the house, basically, interior, design, ceramics, glass, silver, and so on. So it's a very wide range. And of course, art, jewelry, watches, vintage cars, which is a new thing, exploding, and so on. But furniture is our biggest category on its own. And we have had several million lots through the system over the years. We work as a traditional auction house in the way that we source items from local sellers. That could be you selling your sofa, or you selling your lamp, or you selling your piece of artwork. Then we get the items in physically. We do the cataloging of it, photo, estimate, description, and then we sell everything online and ship to global buyers. So we have this local sourcing of items to sell, but a worldwide shipping and customers sitting out there bidding. We would normally have around 100,000 visits online a day if you view over time. In my opinion, the auction business is one of the most sustainable businesses that you can find, and has been so for 400 years or even more, because you've always had this idea that you should be able to pass on, which is basically have a heritage, you can say, cultural heritage, design heritage, that you choose to pass on from one owner to a new buyer, a new happy home somewhere. I've always seen this circle as a very beautiful, sustainable circle. You wouldn't call it that 20 years ago, but now it has gotten a word of sustainability, that you choose to pass on things, and then as a buyer you can earn on what you sell, but you can also give life. And this, of course, sustainability agenda, we tap very much into that, and suddenly you could say that what the auction business have been doing for many, many years has a name now. And you use other words, but if you're in the auction business, it's basically because you love the stories, as you said, behind all the items that we sell. There would always be an artist or a designer or an architect or a creator having used time and energy and passion creating these products. And it's right, we sell a lot of design classics and a lot of also high-end products, but we take items in from 150 euros and up. So I would say we have this very, very democratic approach that we have been cultivating for many years.
But you were one of the first introducing it online.
We were the first.
Yes.
In the world, actually. We were the first to take a physical auction house online.
And it just made it more convenient for everyone.
Yeah.
For me, at least, in the beginning, the auction houses were like for the few rich ones, right? Mm-hmm. You sat with this number in the back of the room, and you had millions and millions of dollars you could bid on, and so on. So you made this auction way of dealing democratic.
And that is still the whole vision of Laurits, to do it the democratic way, and to invite everybody in with whatever you have in your home, which has a quality. Because doing the resale, for us at least, to touch it and to be able to live from it, it has to have a certain quality, because we touch it physically, you can say. We take the item in, we treat the item with the description, evaluation and so on. And that's why we were set from 150 euros and up. But that was basically why it was my husband, not at that time, who founded Laurits, but with this vision of trying to invite everybody in, because actually the auction business have always sold a lot of beautiful things that were not expensive, but the whole illusion around the auction business had been that it was, as you said, kind of maybe for more wealthy people or for high-end items, which was not really the case, and we tried to tell that story and succeeded with it.
Well, I think we now have found this is four very different, or some little bit in common business models here and way of dealing with resale of furniture. And then I will move on to some of the questions about this, because I know from some of the authorities, at least, when we talk about circular economy and this resale market, what about liability? What is it we can offer on these platforms? Some of you, IKEA, you know it's your own products, you know where they've been produced, you know that what kind of chemicals there's in the products, and you also, I know, have some repair service if that's needed to pass it on for resale. But who is responsible for these products that we resell? Have you thought about that? And I know that it's a big question now on circular economy when we rotate things, and now we don't know the original, we don't know what's in it, and also if we reuse parts. You said that from IKEA, you disassemble it and use the parts. Who is responsible if something goes wrong, or, you know, and what do you do about that? Clem?
Well, I would say we classify the product, and as I said before, to define the carbon impact of the product, and if something is broken, then we have repair facilities so we can fix the product, and we track it to the system, so when it gets back we can see what's happened to it and where it's been before. So we're trying to do this all by tracking and tracing.
So you already have a system in place and
Yeah.
sort that out. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Emma, what about you?
I think that's actually the whole responsibility discussion is one of the main reasons why it's so important for companies to get into the resale markets. Because I think maybe you also have a lot of peer-to-peer trades, basically on your platform, you're the mediator. But it's really important for companies to get on board because as soon as companies are involved, we do have some legal requirements. So actually when people buy, I think on all of our platforms, there's of course the legal 2-year warranty, and then brands and companies can offer extended guarantee on top of that. But that does not apply to the peer-to-peer trades. So I think that's just a main reason for companies to get involved. And we also know that it is a great barrier for people to buy more used, actually. A third of all Danes, they are hesitant to purchasing used furniture due to lack of warranty, basically. So for us, the brands we work with, they naturally lift that part. Once again, Velas is a good example. They do the repairs themselves. We don't have that service in-house yet, I would say. So that's something that lies with the brands in our business model, at least.
So that's a part of the contract with the brands, and they have to.
It can be. It's basically up to them.
Yeah.
Of course, we can initiate the dialogue and encourage them to have those kind of services. But basically, I think it's just the business part of it that's really important because it puts some requirements on the trade, which is really good.
Yeah. Right. And IKEA, how do you deal with that? I know you also operate in the US market. I don't know if you have done a take-back solution to the UK.
We do. Yeah,
Yes?
we have it.
And how are you
basically
working?
globally now, so
Yeah.
US and UK. I focus specifically on the Danish market, so
Yes,
I don't
know.
want to get into
Yeah.
legal territory in America, so I won't speak on
It
their
just
behalf,
came to my
but-
mind. Okay, America. That's really.
But we do offer it there, so I'm sure they've got all their ducks in a row
Yeah.
to make sure that that's in
Yes.
place. But it's, I mean, safety, responsibility is, absolutely a number one concern for us. And it's a huge part of the take-back service and the buyback service. I think it's also a main reason for starting in sort of a stepwise approach like we do to make sure that we can guarantee that same level of safety, responsibility, what you would expect from any new product you buy with us, that you get that same experience buying a secondhand product. So we start, should also say everything we buy back at this stage is already assembled. So we also don't want customers to disassemble and then come with it. It could be missing a part or, for example, so this way we can get a full overview of the product in its final state, know what it looks like, is everything there, it's all in order and checked, screws are tightened, everything is good to go, and it can be resold. We love that people hack and upcycle and personalize all their products at home. It's so fantastic, but unfortunately we can't buy those products back, at least not yet at this stage. But again, let's see what comes in the future as these
Sounds like a
things
fun idea, though.
develop.
Okay, great. And Mette, how do you deal with that in Laurits.com?
We have all items in commission. So we have a private seller in one end or a professional seller, and then we are the expert between seller and buyer. And then we have our private or professional, mainly private buyer. But we can have professional or private, but it's commission. So for our sake, the legislation is quite simple. We describe the item as it is. So this is a chair by Arne Jacobsen, and it's second-hand, it's used, and there's an expected wear. And we don't have to describe expected wear, because when you buy an auction, you know that it's used and second-hand. So we have to describe what is beyond what you would expect of wear and patina on a product. And you buy the chair, and if within 1 year the leg falls off, which is probably does not, but if it does, then you come back to us, and if it is a defect that we should have seen and described, then if there was an old repair, for instance, which we did not see, which we should, that's why as an expert, then you get your money back, or you have 3 solutions. You can either get your money back, or you can get a reduction, or a repair. But normally we just take it back and give you the money. So for us it has always been quite, there's a logistic in it, but quite easily. And then if there's a doubt, is that something we should have seen or not, then we are normally large and say, okay, we take it back, and then we send it, then we either take it off or get it repaired. But,
would it never go back to the brands, for example? That
no.
So
and I think the difference is that it's a commission, and in the auction business it's quite, it's over many years that you have gained this experience, and the legislation is quite clear. You have to expect when something is used that it's not new, but if there are reparation, or it could be a soft back sometimes in an old design classicer, we have to describe it. So our experts have to be very precise, and we describe as much as possible. So we are not afraid of saying, here there's some extra wear on the surface of this Wiener table. We would rather describe it, and then you can see what you buy, and we are aligned regarding expectations.
Okay, great. That sounds like you all have been taking this in consideration and have a good system for it. That's nice to know. I think the authorities don't have to worry that much. Now I want to talk about the future of this resale market, because what you also said, Emma, it's too little the part of the sale is for resale compared to new sale. And we all want to expand that, because there's so many lovely things out there. It has a value in your home, and you might want to refurbish, and you don't think about that it has a value. And what are the barriers, as you see, and you are B2B, what are the barriers for extending this resale market, do you think, Preben?
Well, I think what's quite important is what we're doing. We're mixing. So if you look at our website, you have new and upcycled products mixed between each other. So you don't have to make a conscious decision before moving into the web shop, I'm going to buy used or I'm going to buy new products. You can see everything displayed in the same place, and then of course you can see the carbon impact is much lower on the upcycled product, and typically the price is lower as well. So it should make it quite easy to make what you could say the right choice towards buying an upcycled product. But basically there's no barrier, because you have it all displayed in the same location on the same website. And
do you see your customers really think about that, and does it affect their buying decision?
As I said before, we have more or less an equal mix between new and used. So I think it's more what's needed in the specific situation that's behind the choice of if they're buying new and used. And we see a growing interest in especially classic upcycled designer products. Yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah. So I think the main thing is you don't have to, okay, I'm going to buy upcycled, I'm going to buy new. You see it all in the same situation, so you can choose. And
you make it easy for us combining or seeing the effect that if you buy reused things, you actually do something good for the climate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because often we see that in all lifestyle products, it's really difficult for the consumer to actually think that it's maybe more like it's okay, it's saving our money kind of issue, but it's good.
But this is more a combination of these items, not so much price. And then of course, if this specific table you're looking for only is available as new, then of course you can buy that. And as I said before, it's more or less a mix, who's doing what. And the same customer is mixing things.
Yeah. So for you, there's no barriers
for you? There's no barrier, because we are using this system.
Yeah, great. Emma?
Yeah, I think on a general note, I think you mentioned it in the beginning, Bettina, accessibility from a consumer standpoint at least. I think one of our key jobs in this industry is to make used furniture more accessible to consumers. So it makes me happy to hear all the good stories, of course, and a lot of people are doing a lot of things. But with kind of the maturing of e-commerce and the rise of new initiatives, social commerce, for example, consumers are more demanding than ever. We want completely frictionless experiences everywhere we go. We want to be able to compare and find, as you also say, compare new and old, but compare different options and do it in minutes. So it needs to be really easy. And we also know that this is connected also to the barriers we have kind of revealed. We did a study last year showing that a third of all the Danes are hesitant to buying more used furniture, also because it's time consuming. Yeah, exactly. So they think it's too time consuming and too complicated, basically, and a hassle essentially to get there. So I think that's why we started Keeper Collective as well, to really make it easier. We do that by mirroring a completely normal web shop, just as you do, Preben. So kind of letting consumers shop the way they normally would for a new piece of furniture. That's what we are doing, trying to mirror the experience completely to make it a bit more frictionless than some of their previous experiences.
And what is exactly what you say frictionless?
Yeah.
What do you mean with that? Is it like logistics or?
I think it's more because we function as a web shop.
Yeah.
So it's more the fact that you can go in, you can browse around, get inspiration, just the same way you would in a web shop selling new products. And then kind of the purchase flow is also exactly the same. Everything from putting things in a basket and then purchasing. We have delivery because we do have a fulfillment solution. That's one of our legs. We have drop shipping and we have fulfillment. But for the products, no matter the model, we can actually offer really quick delivery. So the products we've sold now, the past couple of weeks, I think the average delivery date on those has been around three business days. So it's also that's also a part of the accessibility to make it really easy. Yeah, the whole purchase journey basically.
And I'm wondering what that's going to do with these Danish furniture companies, where you go to the store and you buy things and you are told in 3 months you have your product.
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering if that business model is going to be continued, because when we have used furniture being as easy as new furniture to buy, and also the situation of do you have 3 months to wait if you're redecorating and your couch is in the bin, or resell, of course not in the bin, no, on the resale market, and it's sold in 2 minutes on some kind of platform. What do? Sit on the floor? No, you don't wait 3 months. And yes, Monica, would you also, because I know that IKEA is not known for resale furniture. So how do you communicate about this? Because when I heard about it, it's like, okay, that's interesting. That's not what I would associate with IKEA. So have you seen that there's been difficulties in communicating? What kind of barriers do you see?
I mean, I think you're both spot on with sort of the business model barriers, and we see that as well. It's a challenge while we're ramping up this, as we call it, omni-channel development. So being accessible to consumers on any platform at any time with the same customer experience. To bridge that with our sort of fledgling circular secondhand offer is a challenge, but it's also crucial, so that those two business model developments happen in sync with each other and not kind of on separate tracks. That's sort of one of my biggest focuses. So I think from that point, to make the communication really natural, again, make it as much a part of the normal shopping experience as possible is really key. I mean, from our perspective, what we need, we don't need 1% of people doing everything right. We need 99% of people making small changes every day, changing a little bit of how they live, how they consume, just the normal way they go about life. And so this is kind of a part of that, is integrating this sort of shopping experience into your normal browsing on IKEA or Instagram or Pinterest or whatever it might be. So I think from that point of view, it's crucial that it just be integrated in how we operate.
Yeah.
But we also know that the interest is there, and it's huge. I mean, when we also came with a really big campaign around it back in November, kind of trying to combat the Black Friday pushes that a lot of retailers go with, and instead relaunching our buyback and resale service. And there we had, I think, over 1,500 buybacks in just a week or two period, which kind of just in context dwarfed most other IKEA countries. So that really tells us that specifically here in Denmark, we have a huge opportunity to scale this up if we really keep the pedal on.
So in the future, when I go to IKEA shop, I can go and I can get a new product and a used product. It will be next to each other.
Potentially,
yes.
Potentially. But I think even more important is integrating that online.
Yes.
That is really where we could see a transformation kind of lift off.
Yeah, and Mette, I want you to elaborate on the same, and I know there's some questions in the audience, and after that we will open up for questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are different in the way that we have been accessible for more than 20 years, and so for us it's more a question of addressing the sustainability agenda, because what makes Lauritz, has made Lauritz, especially over the years, is the accessibility. And we would have, on a normal day, 10,000 auctions running. It's a lot of items all the time. So I think for us it's more, as one of you said, to communicate even more clearly that you can make your sustainable footprint at home by buying vintage and buying secondhand, because I mean that's what we do and people know that is what we do. But for a new generation, not necessarily in age but more in mindset, which have for some reason chosen not to buy secondhand before, those people, we can see that we have a communication channel, a challenge to make them understand that if you and when you want to live sustainable in your home, it's actually one of the ways where you can change the world, because there's a lot of things going on the big scale internationally regarding the climate, but what you can do yourself is actually, it's very easy. You can actually, as we all promote, do your footprint at home. And for that new consumer who have previously chosen only to buy new stuff at home, that's the challenge, to kind of explain to them that you can actually make maybe the major impression at home by buying secondhand, and you can do it at Lauritz or at one of your platforms.
But could it be like you could offer some data so they could be motivated?
I think as it is right now, it's a growing market because it's consumers know this.
Yeah,
all of us. We just need to be very clear about that. You then have different choices in an e-commerce platform, online auctions, IKEA. And for us, it's we have been alone. You can say the auction business selling secondhand items for many years. So for us, it's of course it's more competition, but it's also a gift that we are more people now who are communicating the same passion and story and possibility. You can say. For us, I think the biggest challenge, it's not accessibility. It's not that people know that we sell secondhand. For us, it's more the logistical part. It has always been. Because it's a lot of physical taking a Montana shelf in. You know, it's a big thing. It takes a lot of space. It costs a lot of money to get it into our experts to do the cataloging and to ship it. So for us, it's always this logistic model. And as you say, how do we accommodate the need of convenience? We've always had it at Lauritz. It has to be quick and easy and simple. But the consumer demands, they are, of course, it has to be cheaper, the whole logistic part, the transport, and quicker. And for us, it's more, it's a big system we have. So that's where we always try to tune. And then I have to make a comment on IKEA, because some of the most trendy furnitures now also on Lauritz. That's the old IKEA by Werner Panton and all the great architects who through time actually did IKEA products. And they still, they're good. I have them. Yes. I know they last.
They stand up.
I think my point was maybe also it'd be maybe interesting for you also to link it to the climate change, you know, that you could do
but
it.
But we definitely do. And maybe we were a bit late doing that, because for us it was so obvious that when you buy vintage and secondhand, you do it because, as I said in the beginning, you want to pass on. I love a lot of new furnitures and there you can also talk sustainability when people are producing and so on. But for us it was so obvious why you want to buy used. But we can see we have to be even clearer when we look at the new consumer who never bought second-hand before.
Yeah. And especially also when you say you go also in the more common market until 150 euros.
Yeah, we've always done that, yeah.
Perfect, great. I know there's some questions in the audience, and now it's time for you $100 question. Yes, yes, I knew you. Just a moment. Yes, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, but we do because it's online, it's streamed.
So,
Sorry.
hi, my name is Valerie. I've been in the design business for some years. I left it, and I'm in between jobs right now. I'm actually moving out of Copenhagen. The point what you said, you have to wait a long time to get a furniture in store. This is correct because it's made on order. And this is, I think, also a part of the secular part. I really love what you do because I think design is also about, when you talk about 3 days of design, we talk about the passion and the story that is behind.
Yes.
So I think that what Longterm does is actually moving the story behind the design. And I think it's not only one solution, I think it's a part of the solution. And I think that's really great what you're doing. So it's interesting to see what you have. But it's not one part that is just excluding the other.
No.
And it's very interesting because previously we have seen customers would come, yes, for the heritage part, the story and the story behind, and the aesthetic part. So if you bought a Finn Juhl chair, it was the aesthetic, it was the story around Finn Juhl, and it was the shape. Whereas now we have more and more customers coming, not firstly about that, but because they've made a decision to buy secondhand. And then they try to find out, these new consumers, where can I buy it? Oh, here, 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 here. So now we see both kind of it, but we still keep telling the stories because that's our passion.
Yeah, any other comments on that from the panel? Yeah.
I have a comment tying back to what you said before, Mette, also in terms of logistics, actually, because that's also, I mentioned the consumer barrier in our viewpoint, but another big barrier is on the business side, actually, tying back to logistics. And I think to really make also everything as sustainable as possible, we want to minimize transports of these furniture because it is pretty big furniture that moves around. So drop shipping is something really interesting to look into for the future because then...
Can you explain? Maybe not all know what
so just drop shipping, basically where brands and companies, design companies, they can ship the products directly. If they have a take-back program, they can ship it directly to the consumers instead of shipping it to our storage warehouse and then us shipping it out to the buyers. So kind of minimizing the deliveries, that would be a way to also kind of incentivize more businesses taking part in the resale market. That requires, though, also because it's a new kind of concept, that businesses are willing to kind of be okay with less profit and margins in the short term, because we want to approach this business on the long-term view. It's all about building the brand to secure the long-term growth.
And then you have to make sure that you can trust the seller and the buyer that nothing happens in between. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Good.
Okay, I may say that when we buy something new, we put a lot of effort into trying to buy things produced locally or in Poland or something like that, and not Chinese junk that's shipped from far away. So that's also a way to source locally whenever you can.
Yes. Yes, Heidi. Yes, the mic.
Just a quick question. Who or which partners are you then looking for to expand the circular model? So congratulations to all 4 of you. Amazing work that you're doing, but you're there and you've seen the light and you're working towards a more expansion of the market. But what partners are you missing that is to step into your chain or your circular business model to move beyond that point as well?
Yes, who would like to start, or is anyone has any comments to that? Or you good, or you need new
I think maybe it's I don't know if it's a direct answer, but I'll try. I mean, I think we are a fairly, closed loop, you could say, within IKEA. We only sell our own produced products. So we, in that sense, we don't need kind of partner brands in order to further develop our business model. I think, and really where I see that we have a leadership role here is to bring other smaller retailers who are also offering a good price for consumers who need something in a hurry to sort of challenge ourselves to make this the norm, make this commonplace. It's not necessarily partnership, but maybe it's actually competition, really, is to say, how do we make this something that we should be competing with each other on, actually, because that's where we know we see action in the business. That's where we know we really make steps forward, when we know we're neck and neck with a competitor for market share. I know when we look at market share based on certain areas of our business, so on kitchen areas or dining sets or living room furniture, we know the second hand is, in some of those areas, a top 2-3 competitor. And now that's covering many different brands, but it shows us that this is actually really what consumers want. So data and knowledge like that is important for us to keep this momentum going. And I think the more that we can show that we're doing this, communicating about it, show results and successes with it, the more that other brands can also take notice and say, oh, okay, yeah, this is actually, maybe this is really where the future is heading and where we need to step in and be a competitive player.
Mm-hmm. I could maybe also say that we also sell new items, new produced items. It's about 15% of our turnover. So if you have these 10,000 items or auctions today, it's quite a lot of items. And we always look for new partners, you can say. That's then producers, mainly the big Nordic design producers, mainly furnitures. And we try to explain to the producers that we can sell their items as new. And we would, our question would always be, when we take items in, we only want to sell these new items if we would sell them again when they come in as second hand in 50 years. So will they stand, do they have the genuine quality and the design vision to interest people, and will they be standing in 50 years? So we are always looking for more partners within furnitures or all, you can tell all the areas that we cover, because we want to be even bigger on the new produced as well, but we have to select who we are working with. And then it's basically items coming from showrooms and all the design shops. So once they change every 3rd month, maybe then we get the items in. Or it could be stocks or models going out, but still beautiful, beautiful. And again, mostly design classics, so they have a long life. That
Great.
Kind of partners.
Yeah. Emma, you have any comments? Do you need more partners?
Or
are you good?
Yes, we definitely do to push the agenda. Everyone does, I would say.
Yeah.
I think a dream for us would be to, I think you do it in a sense at JK Office, but to actually put a number on the purchase in terms of CO2 emissions or equivalents that we work with today. To actually see, okay, you can actually save 1,000 kroner buying it used, but you can also save the planet from this emissions.
Yeah.
So that's something we are working towards, and there we have a player like Målbar, here in Denmark at least, that are doing a lot of stuff on that area. So we are discussing with them how can we get these numbers for used products as well, because it's different if it's a sofa or if it's a chair. So if we want to be specific, there's still some way to go, but there's a lot of interesting opportunities in the data area, I would say.
And also with the inspiration from JK Office,
Definitely.
you've already done that. And also, I think that's really interesting also, if you can see they've been coming back 2 times, it even gets less and less and less. So it's a good motivation, I think. So. Yes, some questions. How much time do we have? Still a little bit of time? No? But we move on. So you who is watching at home on this digital viewing of this panel, if you think the time is up, it's fine with us, but we move on. We have so many questions now, and nice to have the interaction. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. This might be most relevant to an IKEA
type business, but have you noticed, or do you anticipate noticing, that the buyback program may reduce the quantity of new products being produced every year? And have you seen any results to that? My secret, that's sort of the wish. I mean, I think the long-term vision is that we work this into the business model in such a way that we can reduce the need for raw materials into new products. I mean, that is, we're talking off in the future at this point, but it's, over 50% of our carbon footprint in IKEA comes from materials, so from sourcing raw materials. And if we can start to shrink that portion by upping the resale potential of the products that we're already producing, I mean, that is a huge way for us to make a climate impact. So I think, and we talk a lot about, cannibalization effects within our business, and I think at a certain degree we have to accept it, and we have to almost be proud of it. That's sort of what we want to see. We want to lift this market up, because it in the end, it's really about holding on to that consumer is the most important part, and showing that consumer a way to stay with us as a retailer, but doing these things in an ever more sustainable way. So I think we haven't seen results of it yet. The program's only been running for a short period. And I will say it is still fairly small in the grand scheme of our scale and impact. But we want to see it ramp up. We want to see it start to have those effects. I mean, that is really the long-term goal.
Yes.
And I think the fact that you do it is so important for the whole market.
Yeah.
It is, because
But also
if the big consumer brands go forward, it's kind of then
everybody has
a
to
lot
follow.
who have to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a few more questions. Yes. And then Frank, and then I think we close down.
I have a question primarily for Preben, I think. When you do office furniture, we see a high frequency of change in the whole interior in offices, because people don't stay in one office for very long. Maybe I didn't get, you talk about this going through the loop again. Would that be a purchase and sell process?
We can provide any model. If you are a customer, you can specify what you need, and then if your changes are, your needs are changing, then you can just return what you have now. You have a sale and buy back, we have a lease, and we have a rental model.
My question was actually if what you do in the leasing market.
Whatever is relevant for you, we can do, and we take back what you have and give you what you need, and we upcycle what we take back.
Flexibility.
Yeah.
Great. Yes, thank you.
Yes, I want to elaborate a little bit on your question, Heidi, because in circular economy, it's not always about new partnerships. It's about developing the partnerships already existing. So are you considering an even closer consumer engagement? I would imagine there's a lot of trash and treasure in people's homes that they don't even know what's worth or know how to get rid of. As a co-worker in IKEA, I've been that some years, I know you're doing home visits. And you could discover these treasures. You as well, Mette, if you go to see a beautiful, valuable painting, you discover something else.
Yes.
So is that an option for a new business model to help the consumer at home?
I would say that's one of the main drivers for us when we get furnitures in. We have experts working in our physical auction houses where people come to consign, but we have a lot of experts going out 100%. That's what they do. They go home to visit you at home because you want to get an estimate on a sofa. And when we are there, we see that you collect ceramics, and we say, we can see you collect ceramics. You should know that right now the price is on Kæler or Michael Andersen and so on, and then you get a discussion about that. So it's a service that the auction business have done for many years, but we do it, we cultivate it a lot, and we can see that the main business we get from being out there, not standing waiting, but being out in your home. And we do these online evaluations. So you can always send a photo, I have this lamp, can I get an estimated price? And we would do at least 10,000 a month. It's a lot. It's a big driver, sometimes more. That's just a service, so it's for free. But that's in order to get this contact and tell you it's easy, just ask. And if you want us to come, we come. and you want us to pick your sofa up, we come and we do it for free. We have to be very proactive towards the sellers.
And also you have these TV programs where you can see people with no ordinary things can come and have an evaluation. And
we've done 100 programs now for TV2 over 9 years, where basically that's what we do. We visit people at home and people tell their story behind a certain furniture or artwork or ring or whatever it is. Or we would interview the designer or the artist. Again, it's behind. There's a big common passion and interest of getting to know what is this and who made it and why does it look like this and what's that kind of material, and it's a good story.
But one thing is what's visible in the home. Another thing is what's stocked or stored in the basement.
But we would
in
always
the drawers.
ask, always.
Sometimes you have a good nose for that.
We will always ask, are there other things? And then we would say to people, maybe in your loft, maybe in the cellar, maybe in the drawers, trying to be discreet but still a bit direct.
Yeah.
Yes,
but I think it's.
I think IKEA, you have the last thing, and then I'm told from the technical people that we should stop.
Okay,
now.
I just want to hop in because
way beyond
you're
our time.
so spot on, and it is actually sort of a service that we're working on developing, and some countries have even launched it to trial it out, of essentially a decluttering service, of offering our sort of life at home and home furnishing expertise to customers who are sitting with a home like many of us, full of a lot of things that we might not be using every day, and we might feel guilty just throwing them out, but we don't exactly know what to do with them. Can I donate them all? Should I sell them? How much would I make? How can I manage this sort of situation I'm in? So I think for us, that is definitely something that we see as a business model potential, and it's sort of part of why resale is sort of only one area of this circular model that we're working with, and we need to tap into how are people acquiring their products in the first place, caring for them, and then passing them on. So this kind of 3-step in our sort of ownership or access, you could say, since it's not even all about ownership. So when they're caring for things or want to pass them on, what can we come in with and offer a service, provide a benefit for the consumer, and again, work at our circularity agenda, work on a sustainability agenda, try to lower our climate footprint. And it's part of the reason Denmark has one of the highest climate footprints per capita is our spending power, the things that we consume. So if we can start to work that into also a profitable business model for us, that's really, I think, where we can see these agendas lift off.
Win-win, yes. Well, thank you so much for getting up that early, and thank you for the very, very good panel. Should we give them an applause? And thank you for the audience to also get up this morning, and sorry about the coffee being late, but thank you very much, and have a wonderful day here, and there's a wonderful circular exhibition on the other side. Please go and visit that and talk more to both the business models, the services, and the products you can see next door. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.